They will tell you that life is about talent, about luck, about connections, but no one tells you the truth, that everything you'll ever win, everything you'll ever lose, starts in your mind. Your mind is the battlefield, and most people lose the war before they ever step foot into the arena because they've been taught to fight the wrong enemy. It's not the market. It's not your competition. It's not the people who doubted you. It's you, your fears, your doubts, your hesitation, your mental noise. This is where the great divide begins. Between the man who conquers his destiny and the man who becomes a prisoner of his excuses. Every empire that was ever built began inside someone's mind. Before Ford built the assembly line, he saw a world where every man could afford a car. Before Edison lit the world, he was a boy in a basement failing 1,000 times with wires and glass. Before Carnegie owned steel, he was a telegraph boy, earning $1.2 a week, dreaming in the shadows. They weren't born invincible, but they trained their minds like warriors, sharpened their swords. Relentless, focused, unshakable. So I ask you, what war is raging in your mind right now? What lie are you still believing? That you're too old? Too late? Not gifted enough? That success is for them and not for you? That is the first war you must win. The war of belief. Because belief is not a luxury. It is not wishful thinking. It is the soil in which everything grows. No belief? No progress. No belief? No action. No belief? No life. Understand this. The moment you truly believe, truly decide, you shift the gears of the universe itself. Doors that were closed begin to creak open. People you never met begin speaking your name in rooms you've never entered. And it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because belief is magnetic. But belief alone is not enough. What good is a ship with no compass? You need clarity. Crystal clarity. Most people are exhausted, not because they work too hard, but because they aim at nothing. They drift. They scroll. They react. Clarity is power. When you know what you want, truly know, it stops being a dream and starts becoming a demand. A demand you place on yourself, on life, on everything around you. When Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination, he didn't crumble. He clarified his vision. He saw castles where others saw swamps. He saw parades where others saw parking lots. He dreamed in full color when the world lived in black and white. And what about you? What is your vision? Not your parents' vision. Not your boss's expectations. Yours. Can you see it? Can you feel it? Can you wake up with it burning behind your eyes? That's the kind of vision that fuels purpose. And purpose, that's the fire that never dies. You see, purpose is not about the job you have. It's about the reason you breathe, the reason you fight, the reason you keep going when the odds are stacked against you. Without purpose, every challenge becomes a reason to quit. With purpose, every challenge becomes proof that you are exactly where you belong on the battlefield. But even with belief, clarity, and purpose, there is no victory without discipline. Discipline is not about perfection. It's not about motivation. It's about choosing what you want most over what you want now. It's the man who wakes up at 5 a.m. even when the bed is warm. It's the woman who keeps showing up when no one claps. It's the soul that whispers again when the world says enough. Muhammad Ali once said, "I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." That's the kind of mindset that forges legends. And make no mistake, a discipline isn't inherited. It's built every day, in silence, while the rest of the world is asleep. And when you move with discipline, you begin to move with momentum. Because action, consistent, intentional action, is what separates the talkers from the doers. The universe does not respond to intentions. It responds to movement. Do not wait for the perfect plan. There is no perfect plan. There is only now. Now is when you start. Now is when you decide. Now is when you act, even if your voice shakes, even if your legs tremble, even if your hands bleed. Every titan you admire once stood where you are, now afraid, uncertain, doubting. They moved anyway. So move. Move when it's dark. Move when it's hard. Move when you're not ready. Because if you wait to be ready, you'll die waiting. But in all your movement, do not forget this. Gratitude is the shield that protects the mind. In a world obsessed with more, the grateful man owns everything. Not because he settles, but because he sees. He sees the lesson in failure. He sees the strength in pain. He sees the seed of opportunity in every storm. You think gratitude is soft? Try waking up every day and choosing to see beauty where others see boredom. Try finding peace while building an empire. That takes strength. And while the world complains, you rise. Because your mind is no longer their playground. It's your fortress, built with purpose, fueled by belief, sharpened with discipline, guided by clarity, and fortified by gratitude. But even fortresses face storms. And that's where resilience enters. Because life will hit you again and again and again. You will lose. You will fail. You will be betrayed. And in those moments, you'll hear a voice. A soft, familiar whisper. Maybe this just isn't for you. But remember this. That voice is not your truth. It is the echo of your old self begging you to stay small. Refuse. You were not made to break. You were made to bend and bounce back, to adapt, to evolve, to rise again and again, just like Lincoln did after losing multiple elections before becoming the president, just like Oprah did after being told she was unfit for television, just like every soul who ever became more than the world expected. Resilience is not about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. Because when you win in your mind, you win everywhere. When you conquer the battlefield within, no outside force can defeat you. So guard your thoughts like treasure. Feed your mind like a warrior trains his body. Speak to yourself like a general leading an army. You are not here to survive. You are here to conquer, to build, to become. The battlefield is ready. Are you? But before you charge forward, understand this. The enemy you face isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, disguised as logic, as reason, as just being realistic. That voice inside that tells you to slow down, to wait, to not take the risk, it sounds wise. It sounds safe, but it's the assassin of destiny. Every great dream was once ridiculed. Every bold move was once called reckless. Every pioneer was once told to be reasonable. But let me ask, was it reasonable for Elon Musk to bet his entire fortune on rockets that kept exploding? Was it reasonable for a black woman named Rosa to refuse her seat and face jail? Was it reasonable for a monk named Martin to march toward fire with nothing but words and hope? Number. It wasn't reasonable. It was revolutionary. And revolutions begin in the mind. So if you want to rise, stop asking for permission. Stop checking if it's okay to want more. You were born with a blueprint written in hunger. A voice that says, I was made for more than this. Listen to that voice. It is not arrogance. It is awakening. And once you awaken, your standards must change. You don't negotiate with mediocrity anymore. You don't entertain drama. You don't keep people in your life who shrink your vision. You rise, even if it means walking alone. Because the next chapter of your life requires a stronger version of you. Not bitter, not cold, but clear, focused, unapologetic about who you are and what you came to build. And yes, it will hurt. Growth always does. Not just in the body, but in the soul. You will grieve the version of you that was comfortable, passive, liked by everyone. But that version never knew what it meant to be free. Freedom is not comfort. It's clarity. It's choosing who you become. It's living by design, not default. And design demands strategy. So let's speak of strategy, not tactics, not hacks. Real mental strategy. You must become the architect of your inner world. What do you consume? What voices do you let inside your gates? What thoughts do you water every morning when you wake? Because the mind is a garden, and if you don't plant roses, weeds will grow. Stop letting opinions grow where vision belongs. Stop replaying old failures like they're sacred songs. You're not who you were. You're who you decide to be today. And that decision must be fierce, daily, deliberate, rooted in principle. Do not chase motivation. Motivation is the wind, it comes and goes. Build systems, build rituals, build identity. You don't get fit because you felt like it. You get fit because it's who you are. You don't succeed in business because the stars aligned. You succeed because you became the kind of person who builds regardless of the stars. Identity drives behavior, and behavior builds empires. So who are you becoming? Really, when no one's watching, what are you rehearsing in your head? Victory or defeat? Possibility or paranoia? Your inner dialogue is the script of your destiny. Rewrite it. No more, I hope. Say, I am. No more, maybe someday. Say, today. No more, I can't. Say, watch me. And yes, you'll fall. Yes, you'll question. But those are the moments where kings are forged. Not when everything works, but when nothing does and you show up anyway. Because that's the real test. Not talent, not IQ, not even luck, but persistence when pain is louder than purpose. Will you move anyway? Will you build when no one claps? Will you bleed with a smile, knowing that every scar is a signature on your legacy? Because one day, someone will read your story. Your child, your friend, a stranger in the dark. And what will they find? That you gave up when it got hard? Or that you rose again and again until life had to bow to your will? This is what it means to win the battle within, to become your own hero, to master the only kingdom you'll ever truly rule yourself. The mind is the battlefield, and you are not a victim. You are not a statistic. You are a force of nature, if you choose to be. So here you are, standing on the edge of everything you've ever known, staring into the vastness of what could be. This is the moment most people turn back, not because the path ahead is impossible, but because the voice within is still whispering, what if I fail? What if I lose everything? What if I'm not enough? But let me tell you something. The greatest danger is not that you'll fail. The greatest danger is that you'll succeed at the wrong thing, that you'll spend your life climbing a mountain only to reach the top and realize it was the wrong mountain. Don't let fear decide your direction. Fear is not a compass, it's a cage. But do you want to know what is a compass? Conviction, not comfort, not consensus. Conviction, that inner fire that says, I may not be the best, I may not be the fastest, but I will not quit. That's what builds legacy. Think about Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison, not for power, not for glory, but because his conviction would not bend. He walked out of that cell, not as a broken man, but as a world leader. That is what it means to win the war within. And it starts with a question. Not, what do I want? But, what am I willing to endure for it? You see, pain is the price of greatness. Not occasional pain. Consistent pain. The pain of rejection. The pain of sacrifice. The pain of discipline. And the most silent pain of all, the pain of being misunderstood. But the warrior doesn't flinch. He doesn't need applause to confirm his mission. He doesn't need agreement to validate his purpose. He moves, with or without the world, because he understands it is better to be alone on the path of purpose than surrounded on the road to regret. You want freedom? Don't ask for it. Fight for it. Freedom from fear. Freedom from doubt. Freedom from the mental chains you inherited from people who never dared to dream. Burn the blueprint they gave you if it doesn't fit your fire, and draw a new one in the ashes. Because here's the truth they don't want to admit. You were not born average. You were trained to be. Trained to stay in line. Trained to stay quiet. Trained to dim your light so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. Break that training. Rewire your mind. Success is not an act of luck. It's a consequence of alignment. When what you think, what you feel, and what you do all move in the same direction, nothing can stop you. But if your thoughts sabotage your feelings, if your feelings paralyze your actions, if your actions betray your dreams, you will always live in conflict. And the mind, my friend, the mind cannot thrive in contradiction. You must become one. Unified, whole, undeniable. No more internal civil wars. No more second guessing. No more half-truths to keep you safe. It's time to step fully into your life. To look in the mirror and say, I will not betray myself today. And then do that again tomorrow. And again the next day. Until the discipline becomes identity. Until the identity becomes destiny. Because you don't get what you wish for. You get what you're wired for. And the wiring begins with the words you speak when no one else is listening. So speak like you mean it. Think like it matters. Move like it's already yours. This is the battle of your life, and it's being fought every day you wake up. Not just in your job, not just in your goals, but in your thoughts. Win there and you win everywhere. And if you ever forget who you are, if you ever feel the weight of the world pulling you back into silence, remember this. You are the storm they never saw coming. You are the fire they couldn't extinguish. You are the dream that refused to die. You are not broken. You are becoming. So rise. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Plant your flag on the battlefield of your mind. Stand tall. Eyes forward. Heart steady. Because when the mind is conquered, the world follows. This is your time. Not to hope. Not to wait. But to win. Win there or lose everywhere.